his wife actually, but they were about maybe what 3, 4 years older than I am. They were graduating as I was coming in as a freshman. Remember their and matter of fact, the pastor uh lived, or the minister, he lived around the corner from me. So his mom did, and maybe they did. I don't know. All right, that's all I remember. The wife, I just saw her here and there. Um, I don't know anything more about him being like football player and pretty popular because he was like a star athlete or what have you. And he still has kept himself up pretty good. And his wife, I don't remember much about her, but I think they make a pretty awesome couple. So I'll tell you this word real quick because I know that they're gonna mess with me because of this. Yeah, because of so they already slowing it down. Listen, family. Wait, they messing with the reception. He said something so, I mean, it was like the Holy Spirit just spoke out of him today. Well, the Holy Spirit is always speaking through him, but it was just this one. I don't know what it was about. Maybe because I've been asking the Father certain things and he always used his way. However, he knows what will get our attention. And maybe in some cases, better to get your attention through the people that you know versus the people you don't know. All I'm going to say is this: all this time, he said something that I don't even know if the people really caught. I think maybe about 3 of us. I'm not going to say that. Let's just say people catch things at different times. So, it bears witness with their spirit. But my spirit was quickened today. And I'm going to say this to you all, and I hope that you hear me clearly. We have been bearing the burdens. Every time somebody says something going to happen, this is going to happen to you people. God's people, we coming for you. We're going to do this to you. We're going to do that. You know all of the threats that we've been hearing about what's going to happen. And then you got other ministers saying things like has Jacob has his trouble, and Jacob is crying, and Jacob is weeping. And today, I promise y'all, I asked the Father, how can this be? You said that our years of slavery is over. Our captivity is done. So you mean to tell me you brought us up out of captivity? So now that we will have Jacob's sorrows? What? Help me with this. It makes sense to me. I'm one of them people that you can't just tell me no anything because I'm gonna be like, I can't rest. I need answers. How does this work again? That's what I remember asking. I was like, Father, and I know that the Father is true. That's why I have to ask questions because I can't have it in the back of my mind that somewhere he lied or it's twisted or the word ain't right. Help me to understand. And I keep saying that the word is true. It's the way it's been interpreted through the years that's wrong. And that's why we got to read it for ourselves. And when we cannot understand for ourselves, then we have to trust Yah to open up his Rhema word. Open up your word to me. So I'm clear. I need to understand because I can't have no double mindedness going on. And I can't have, hey, Johanna, I'm glad you're here. Listen, I can't have it in my mind that you saying one thing in the Torah or the Old Testament, and then you go to the New and something's wrong, or it's saying it over here, and then we get over in front of this pastor, this church, and they saying this, or I come over here and the people are saying that. I don't know what to listen to, but I know a couple of things I'm getting ready to do. I think I'm getting ready to be done away with a lot of social media. But I now know I can't look at social media to gain any information. I have to get that from the Ruach, but truly, I'm a mouthpiece for the Most High, according to His word. And that's the problem. We've been shaking in what it is that He's been saying because there's so many voices out here and we're trying to figure out what's true. Well, thank you, Minister Moses. Isn't that something that his name is Moses? I literally felt Like I always knew, and I believe the Father chose us, is if you're coming up out of these churches and you ain't still talking about that mess and celebrating all these pagan days, and you truly are, the Father has called you out to be separate from pagan and heathenistic ways. Now he's setting you on a journey. See, I knew they was gonna mess with it here. Check me out. Johanna, let me know when you cannot understand me, okay? Or you're having trouble hearing me. So all this time, it was interpreted wrong. They made us think that we was gonna be crying, thank you, weeping over everything. We had to suffer all these sorrows and losses. So let me be the first to say, forgive me for any time that I hooked on to the prophets and the ministers of death that made you feel like all you had coming was some gloom. And I prayed that I was trying at some point to set people free from that. But now I think I'm for sure I got it. Thank you to the Spirit of the Most High resting upon the minister today. Check it out. We was identifying with Jacob's sorrows because, right, at one time we were Jacob. Were we not? Who was Jacob in the Bible? He was a trickster, the liar, the deceiver. But when the Most High called him out and he was separate and chosen and handpicked, the Father changed his name. And his identity became, or he lost the identity of the trickster of Jacob, and his name was changed to Israel. Hear me clearly. I don't want to stay on here too long. If you have been called out, you're not the old person anymore that was already, you still belong to the Most High, but you was in a cursed state because you identified with Jacob. We were Jacob, not coming into the fullness of who our Father, our great Redeemer, actually is and never stopped being. See, we were His, but we was up under the curse because we didn't follow His commandments or His laws. We didn't do what He told us to do. We were under man, manisms and traditions, which brought us death and curses, right? But those that are waking up and saying, wait, the commandments do matter. I've been showing y'all that they're in the New Testament. They didn't just pop up only in the Old. That's why a lot of the words were changed. But you can still find it in there. But the only people that are going to see it are those that have been changed. Because you got to see, because the Holy Spirit is the one that shall lead you in the truth. I mean, you are no longer Jacob, so his sorrows, Jacob's sorrows, are no are not yours. We are Israel. See, they messing with the brass. We are the ones that are to rejoice. We're not weeping no more. Hold on. We're the light in Goshen. So while the plagues and everything was all around Egypt, there was light in Goshen. So when the wicked come amongst you, or your accusers, or your persecutors, and you are following the commandments and keeping them, then the Father keeps you and you're blessed. But if you are, that's some we buying this. But if you are still identifying and dying, weeping with Jacob in the flesh things, sin nature, carnality, double mindedness, lukewarm, no laws that separate you, no commandments that separate you from the masses, still doing what you want to do, heathen and pagan ways. And you are affected by everything that the heathen and pagan shall live out because that's their portion. And then Jacob, being the deceiver and the trickster, still God's people, but you into the sin nature. And there will be weeping. But if you would come on out of that, change your name. But let the Father change your name by his commandments and his grace, not the grace that they told us about in church. Just keep asking for forgiveness. Just keep asking. Now I see how we can actually walk without worrying about if we're sinning and if we're messing up and do we belong to him. You know that you belong to him when you live according to what is written. And you can measure that. Honor thy mother and thy father. Love thy neighbors thyself. Love the Father with all your heart, mind, and soul. Do not covet. Do not bear false witness. Do not lie. Do not steal. Do not kill. Do not fornicate. See, it's very simple. It's very plainly stated. That way, you don't, how can you make a mistake? You're not ill and sick because you eat according to what he told you to eat. You live according to how he told you to live in the land in peace. But all that the woman did the other day, when she called herself, you know, acting out and calling what she thought was the law, she didn't know that the higher law was with me. He smiled and said that she's had trouble before. And I'm like, well, she don't have no trouble now because I ain't did nothing to her. But okay, it's all well. And maybe the Father allowed it because maybe she could have been a slumlord or the folks that tore up the place to let me know to not even waste your time here. So we don't need to be worried the same way everybody else is. Johanna, the identity comes in following what he told us to follow. His commandments, you're Israel as well. I pray that you understood. Like I felt like something leaped, like my spirit leaped. Like finally. Now you understand where your identity comes from. Because you've been deemed Israel. Because you walk according to his word. And I'm talking about his command. Everything is flatly laid out. You're different. Opposes to Jacob. That you, like when we was in the church, we got baptized and we did that stuff, but we was under man-made laws, traditions of man. It kept us crying and weeping and cursed. Didn't even know it. Or totally oblivious. You know, no real salvation. Just can't be loved more than you love the Father. Thought I share. Now you can walk to Israel, blessed nation, royal priesthood, holy nation, royal priesthood, chosen generation, a peculiar people. No longer Jacob. When people looking at you, deceive us, I'm gonna pick you. That's why you can't be walking around that you belong and you this that you belong in the Most High, belong to Him, and you out here and sinning and doing all kind of stuff because you open yourself up for the troubles of Jacob because you ain't came into his truth. You have a falseness about you the part, but you deny the power thereof. That's And so now that we walk in his truth and we get his power when we walk in truth, his commandments, his word. So that's why you set apart and not like everybody else. You can't be. And then you got to dad fighting for you because you are made in the light of his image. You have his DNA. Now you are truly his. Jacob didn't have it. Jacob was his. He had not had his name changed. He wasn't converted. I don't like to use that word converted. He had not walked in to the truth. But the Father on him can't get your blessing scheming and tricking. That only lasts for so long. And then if you read the Torah, then Esau was after him for right, stealing, so to speak. But what he didn't even know is that it was already his. Because it's written already, already was. So it's established. So regardless, it's that written in. So whatever other people think they can do, we already engrafted. And so now out here crying and fretting. In his commandments, you can steal and see the side of what I can do to please me. The difference in the world to me. I'm not crying with Jesus, with Jacob. That's who I used to be. I'm not crying with Israel. Live, God not to see. We got the word out. Grace and mercy. Thank you, Johanna. Follow you all the days of your lives.